Okay, fifth graders, I cleaned up my station from my water and vinegar mixtures with baking soda and baking powder. And so now I want to finish my lab and write down my observations and results. Now you may have different results, especially if you used a different liquid here, if you used something that was purple, or if, say, you used milk or pickle juice, orange juice, you might want to scratch the purple out and put the liquid you used. Okay, so right here in each box, I'm going to write what happened. So when I had water and baking soda, I did not have a reaction. So I'm going to put no reaction. And normally I would probably write in pencil, but because I'm making a video, I want you to be able to see what I'm writing easier. Okay, and so what happened when I had the baking soda and the vinegar, I had a reaction, right? I saw fizzing and some bubbling. So I'm going to put fizzing. Fizzing, okay? Now for my purple liquid, I did not have much reaction for either, okay? Now, I did not use the purple liquid that they wanted me to. They wanted me to use a beet mixture or something with beans, okay? So my purple liquid was soap, water, and color. Okay, so I put blue and red to make purple. And what happened? No reaction. So you may have different results here depending on if you used a different liquid. And I also had no reaction with the vinegar. Now, some of you maybe had your substance turn red. Okay, and so that is a common reaction when vinegar hits purple. So you may have the substance turns red, and that's probably ideal for this experiment if you had that result. Okay, onto the baking powder. We had a reaction for both the water and the vinegar. So I'm going to put fizzing in both because there was bubbling and some fizzing when the water hit both of our baking soda and baking powder. Okay, so water to baking powder, I had fizzing, and then vinegar to baking powder, I had fizzing as well. Okay. And then I'm going to answer these questions. If you need more space, please answer them on this side, below, above, wherever, if you need more room, because these are very small lines. Okay, question number 1. Would you use baking soda to test whether or not a substance is an acid? Okay, so I'm looking back at my chart. I do see that I had fizzing with the vinegar. Okay, so I'm looking at my baking soda. Didn't have a reaction to water, but I did have a reaction to vinegar. So I'm going to put yes, circle yes. Why or why not? Well, we know that the baking soda reacts with our acid, which was the vinegar, and it produced bubbles. Okay, so that's what I'm going to put. Yes, and then why? Baking soda reacts with an acid to produce bubbles. Baking soda reacts to an acid to produce bubbles. Having to really focus on writing small. Okay. Now, for number 2, would you use a purple liquid to test whether or not a substance is an acid? Well, no, in my case, because I had basically soap and water and I did not have a reaction. But had I used the bean mixture or the beets in my liquid, I should probably see a reaction of red. Okay, so ideally, this would be a yes because it should turn red when my purple mixture reacts with vinegar. But for me and my experiment, it did not react. And so I need to make sure I use different substances when making a purple liquid. Okay, so I'm going to circle both. Okay, and I'm going to put, I need to change. I need to use beets or beans for my liquid. Okay, so you may have had success and had a reaction and seen that when you added vinegar to your purple liquid, you got a reaction of redness. Now, baking powder. Would I use baking powder to test whether or not a substance is an acid? Well, I had fizzing when I had the water. So that tells me that no matter what, if I put a vinegar or a water with baking powder, it's going to react. So that doesn't necessarily tell me if a liquid is acid or not, because the baking powder is reacting to both. So I'm going to put no, right? Because it's going to react either way, whether I have water or an acid as my liquid. So it doesn't tell me. It doesn't tell me this is an acid or this is not an acid. So I'm going to put no. And I'm going to put because it reacts with both non-acids and acids. Okay, so this baking powder, I keep calling it soda, I'm sorry. Baking powder will react to acids and non-acids. So it doesn't really help us distinguish between the two. Okay. Now over here, this is where you kind of have your free test. Okay. If you tested milk and baking soda, did those react? Okay. Now remember, if we're going to test baking powder, we're going to have fizzing no matter what. So what I suggest is doing our baking soda and seeing if we have a reaction. We have milk. Pickle juice is something that people said they used. Orange juice. You could use maybe like shampoo, which is kind of a soap, basically a soap. But we know that if you use baking powder, you're going to have a reaction no matter what. Okay? So I'm going to leave this one to see if you guys can do this at home. The best thing to use from our initial experiment is baking soda, and see if you can mix baking soda with something in your fridge that is a liquid, that is not vinegar and not water. Okay, I hope that this experiment was easy to understand and that we are able to drink acids. Okay, here are your notes.